Gamer Feed Radio.
What's going on, everybody out there in podcast land? This is Gamer Feed Radio. What's up? I'm your host, Nick Delacave. We've got a special edition show tonight. For those of you who have joined us way back in the past, and I mean way back in the past, we did a Star Wars show about all the things, and we talked about Star Wars games and the music, and it was like a 2.5-hour show of complete perfect geekdom. So this evening, I have reassembled the team like... what's the joke? Avengers Assemble or something like that. Anyway, I brought everybody back to the table so that we could continue the conversation from the last time, only we have lots more great news to talk about. So, joining me today, first up, he's back. I'm kind of sorry, but I'm not. Rob Pugh, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Kind of sorry.
After last week's show, we'll have to wait and see what the reviews are.
2 weeks ago?
Whenever. A week,
I don't
2
understand
weeks.
how time works.
I don't either. In podcast land, time really doesn't matter. It's like whose line it is anyway, yeah.
We do seem to complicate that a little bit more than typical people do.
Yeah.
If only we wouldn't record things out of order, you know? Everything could be simple.
Technically, we didn't.
But that's not how life works. That's not how schedules work.
Well, technically, we didn't record them out of order, so I'm pleased.
Oh, that's true.
It's just that weird time thing. It kind of, we just lose. Anyway, Rob's back with us. We're happy to have him so he can add his hilarity to this conversation. Also joining us once again, our recent and local WoW expert, Tony Gressbar. What's up, buddy?
What up, everybody?
I'm sure that you have all kinds of fun, exciting things you could say about WoW, but can't.
I could.
I can tell you're disappointed. No, we all have our obsessions. No comment. So, from back in the original show days, we have the very lovely, always omnipresent, super genius, Rachel Manning. Welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me back.
We're so happy.
I'm glad you're a lot nicer to me than you were to Rob.
Oh, I mean, there's so many comments, so little time.
So am I allowed to, commit the blasphemy welcome back and say live long and prosper to celebrate the 50th of...
No, that is not blasphemy unless you happen to be a big Star Wars fan and you just turned off the podcast. Please come back.
That's what I'm saying.
Please come back. Awesome.
Real geek stews.
It's true. Well, we're happy to have you back. And last and certainly not least, our good friend and also Star Wars guru, AJ Scheidt. What's up, AJ?
Thank you for having me back. It's an honor and a pleasure.
We are thrilled to have you. So, this show is, unlike in other ones where we have all kinds of weird, crazy music, I may have accidentally gone out and recovered several sound effects that will accidentally be peppered throughout this. You may not be able to hear them, other participants, but the audience can, and I'm sure they'll be very inappropriately placed, especially when Rob talks. Anyway, but they're here, they're fun, and if that doesn't give you an incentive to go back and listen, listeners out there will definitely enjoy the hilarity because I'm gonna try not to abuse it, I promise. There's all kinds of fun sound effects. That said, we've got a lot of ground to cover. This crew, we're going to talk all about The Force Awakens. It just happened, and we've got some stuff there. We're going to talk about the direction of the series and what our predictions are for the future, and we'll talk a little bit about Rogue One, which is coming way faster than I think anyone really anticipated. And there might even be some surprises at the end because who really knows? Any questions? Great. We'll get things kicked off. But before we do, a little bit of administrative house cleaning. We're so glad you joined us this evening. And you can follow us on Twitter at GamerFeed Radio. We're on Facebook. Lots of comments. Most people comment there. It's hysterical. I'm not going to lie. Or they do the silly funny faces now that you can do the faces instead of thumbs up or whatever. Anyway, on the Facebook, you can email us, gamerfeedradio@gmail.com, if you have any suggestions or feedback for the show. We'd love to hear from you. We always, 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 always do. We're also available all over the world on your favorite streaming device. iTunes tends to be popular. You could also try iHeartRadio. That's also really, really popular because we're there, believe it or not. So feel free, or your favorite streaming service. And, of course, all the podcasts are available on YouTube. On our page, just search Gamerfeed Radio, and we would love if you would subscribe. That would be so great. All the podcasts are there with fun pictures, and there may even be some really old, hilarious videos that I put out there for public consumption because I'm a cruel, cruel man. That's all I have. So we'll get things kicked off right away. We'll start with Star Wars The Force Awakens. Okay, everybody, let's talk about it. Opening night. Did we all go see it at midnight? Go on. Or did we do the Thursday the day before? Was that available? Did you see it? Did you have advance tickets? Nerd out now. Go. It doesn't matter who wants to go first.
I can go first.
Perfect.
Because mine's about the nerdiest thing I could possibly do. I went to see it at the Levee, and I guess it was like 9 o'clock. It wasn't their first showing, but it was before midnight, the first night. And they actually had a pairing ticket where BB Riverboats rented out an entire theater, and it was just people on one cruise. And they had a Star Wars cruise before the movie where you could get Han Solo and Jell-O and like Wookiee cookies, and there was a lightsaber battle on the deck. It was like out of control dressed up. You got to try out Battlefront before it was released, thanks to whatever gaming store is currently at the Levee. So yeah, that was my opening night.
So that's like so deep in that whole situation that I feel embarrassed that I was not a part of it.
What? I went to see Star Wars by myself.
I mean,
with
right.
all these other people on this cruise, but none of my friends.
Well, those friends should go then. They probably have to go if they didn't go with you. That's mean.
I know.
I'm just saying. Mean. Okay, anybody else have a fun story? That was epic. I don't think any of us are going to beat that, except maybe Rob.
No, I'm not going to be able to beat that.
I'm really wounded now. What'd you do? Just go see the midnight?
No, I did the. I can't do the midnight because of work. Rachel and I both kind of live in that same world since we work at the same place. But I mean, television hours kind of suck for anything social life whatsoever. So my typical pattern with anything like this is I go and see it first thing the next morning. So I don't go to the midnight showing. I go to the 10 a.m. showing.
So basically, you're yawning the entire time?
No, I'm okay. I'm well up by that time. I've already done my morning run and all that fun stuff, too. And so I get down there, and it's empty theater, but I'm seeing it essentially before anybody else does. So that's typically what I do for all the big releases, anything Star Wars, anything Marvel, anything like that I really care about. I go see first thing the next morning.
I don't suppose there's anything wrong with that. Tony?
I actually got to see it with my boss in the middle of the day.
What that?
Nice.
I approve.
That's super
what we did
amazing.
For a team lunch, aka we went and saw last week. So we took a 2.5-hour lunch and we went and saw it.
That's freaking sweet.
That's a great lunch.
Best boss ever. I sure hope you added him to him or her to the Christmas list.
Oh, he's been on it for a while. For various other reasons.
Genius. AJ?
I actually waited till the following Tuesday. Went to the cheapo theater with that discounted price so I could go with the entire family, and including my daughter Lily, who really wanted to go. So It was me, my daughter Lily, my mom, my dad, both my sisters, and my brother-in-law. So we all went as a big, huge group. So in that sort of situation, you wait a little bit just so I could look at, is there anything too scary for the little one, and then you jump in.
Right. We, my wife and I went, we got a babysitter for the little one, and we went to the midnight showing the day of, and I got the tickets way in advance, and it was, of course, a freaking zoo. But we got there early, so we waited in line forever, and we were sitting on the floor, and she was like, why, God, why did I ever agree to do this with you? Why, God, why? And I was like, come on, it's like college. It's like living all over. She's like, no, it's not. No, it's really not. And then she walked over to that great little bar they have over there and stood in line and drank a beer with me, so it was perfect.
She must have forgot when we dressed up to go see the pirate movie, Nick.
I'm gonna have to remind her of that actually, because that's the best thing I've heard all day.
You're welcome.
Oh my god, imagery. Okay,
Pictures on Facebook.
So everybody, that's awesome. We all went and saw it, which I'm, of course, otherwise you wouldn't be here to talk about it. But so saw it. In no particular order. Overall thoughts of the movie, the quality. What did you like or not like? Did you like the direction that they took it? Do you think it's going to make a great trilogy? What about Luke? Go on.
That's too many questions.
It can be your little 5-minute, say whatever you want about it.
5 minutes?
Or whatever. A minute.
Well, one of us has notes.
Oh.
Go ahead, Andy.
Oh my god.
Oh, good grief. Personally, loved it.
Yep.
It helped so much to repair the damage that the prequels did, in my opinion. Yes, it was a rehash of 4, 5, and 6 in a way, but we almost needed that. It's been 30 years. You have 30 years that people who aren't as engrossed into the mythology as some of us are at this age, that are seeing this for the first time, and it is perfectly what they needed to set up the next trilogy, in my opinion.
Excellent synopsis, sir. Does anyone have anything like to add or an additional blurb? That's a technical term.
I mean, I think he hit it pretty dead on the head there. There was a lot of controversy about it. It's basically Episode 4. It's basically A New Hope all over again. Like all the story beats basically being identical to A New Hope, and J.J. Abrams is a hack. All he's doing is copying, blah 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 blah. No, I kind of feel like for this they kind of needed to, because like Andy said, they did need to kind of get things back on track. They did need to kind of earn some cred back after the prequel trilogy. So I think playing it safe was definitely, if you want to be so uncharitable to say it was playing it safe, which I would don't care to, but doing things this way, making an homage, I think was absolutely the right way to go with it.
I was just going to say, I find it really interesting that anytime J.J. Abrams reboots a series, he has to blow up a really important planet.
Well, I mean, with Star Wars, that's tradition.
But I'm just saying, though, like, really? Really?
And nobody likes the Vulcans anyway.
Oh my god. Actually, in case you didn't notice, if you go on Facebook today, you'll notice that your cool little icons are all Star Trek inspired. So the love symbol is now the peace, the Vulcan peace sign, and there's all kinds of cool stuff. So be sure to check it out. Geordi's on there with his visor. What's not to like about that? I mean, come on. Come on. Okay, fine.
I didn't say them like Geordi. I'm just saying Vulcans. Come on.
Idiot. Okay, well, I mean, I personally, I tend to agree. I mean, I think that it was great. There were some moments in there that, for me, were a little unexpected. Like, I was really pissed about the Kylo Ren Han Solo scene. Still am pissed. Even though I get it.
You had to see that coming, Mark.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
As soon as he went into that place to plant the bombs, like, this is where you fucking died. This is where you died.
Come on.
At the same time, I've learned if a woman in like any relation to a Skywalker tells you there's still good or light in them, the man she tells that to will immediately die.
I'm just saying.
So when a guy says that they're still good in somebody, that person that they're still good in will die. Freaking.
Rachel's like,
Oh,
I'm not sure.
but yeah, I guess no. Luke did say about.
He didn't say that, then.
He said about Vader, and then
Yeah.
Wow, you just said that so nonchalantly, as if the entire universe knows exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
If they're listening to this podcast, they do.
I'm
I
serious.
hope they would.
Damn it. Well, anyway, so that was one thing that stuck out to me. I think it's interesting. Coruscant is Kaputski. So what does that do to the stability? And obviously that sets up the second movie to be super dark. And
No, Nick.
no,
That wasn't Coruscant.
Nope.
I thought
That
it was.
I wrote it down. Because I saw it, I was like, it's not that. What's the name of that stupid system?
What?
The Henotion or simple. It's the Henotians or something like that.
What? Pretty
Oh,
sure.
the Senate was there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
that's where the Republic was. Oh, I wrote it down.
Oh, so you're saying the Galactic is elsewhere?
They moved.
Well, that was dumb of them.
I mean, that... But... Okay, so it wasn't Coruscant, or it was?
I'm so confused.
No, it wasn't Coruscant.
I could have sworn it was, because, my God, it sure looked like it.
Pretty much any Metropolis
line that they did that threw me off. They're somewhere else.
Interesting. Now you're going to make me have to go wiki the crap out of that, because I don't believe you.
Wikipedia.
At least 3 of us are probably already doing it.
And I'm just sitting here eating, because whatever.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome. Well, so anyway, that whole thing...
Hosnian system. That's what it is. Hosnian.
Oh.
Yeah, it does
excuse
ring a
you?
bell now.
Bless you? What?
Yeah.
Gesundheit? I don't...
Shh.
I just hear noises. Anyway,
Am I
okay.
going to?
So
I may or may not be playing with my BB-8 right now.
I can totally hear him. I was going to say, I hear it in the background.
Yep.
That's okay.
He's
I have my
listening.
own sound effects. I don't need you.
He's listening to the podcast. He approves.
So what do you guys think, though, about the way that plays into the story arc? I mean, like Rob said, it's kind of got that whole New Hope revisited thing, which J.J. Abrams is now infamous for in his reboots of series. Is it what you expected? I mean, does it fit with, you know, there was a lot of debate about the canon and that this is different and now it's changing and all the stuff we saw before with the books and all that. It's not really real.
I, for one, don't have a problem with them throwing all of the legendary stuff out. I did at first because there was a lot of stuff I liked in there, but the more I sat and thought about the crap in there too. So, and I'm sure that anything that new that comes out now that's going to be canon from here on out, there's going to be prequel level type crap in there too. So it's always going to be some good with the bad, but still there was a lot of junk, particularly in the later years once you start getting into the lives of the younger solo kids. That I just didn't really care for quite as much. Maybe it's just the passage of time. Maybe it's just, nothing can touch the Thrawn trilogy. So I kind of don't mind having a new start with all of that. Go ahead.
The one thing that I'm still trying to figure it out. They almost as if they were trying to give like the olive branch out to the fans of the legendary stuff by naming Kylo Ren Ben. But why Ben? She had no connection to Obi-Wan. It just didn't make any sense whatsoever.
And for those of you who are listening to this going, I have no idea what he's talking about, it's perfectly all right.
Watch the movie.
Watch the movie again.
I mean, I think we're a little bit past needing to do spoiler warnings at this point.
Oh,
it's
no,
been
there's
out
no
for a
spoiler
year.
warnings.
Anybody
Wait,
that
here it
tunes
comes,
in,
here it is.
listen.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to take your word for it that it was there because I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I trust you.
Oh my god! But anyway, so I always there was just such a big hubbub about it, and then it came out and it did super well, obviously for all the right reasons. Was there anything that really stuck out as bad? Like you're like, this is not how you thought it was going to be. It feels cheap, or that's a cop out, or that isn't going to play well long term, or whatever. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't say anything bad. I really enjoyed the movie. Shush. BB-8's making noise. I really enjoyed the movie. The one thing that if I were to pick nits, one thing I would hit on is the Starkiller base itself. Because on some level, there's a certain lack of imagination among the Empire. It's like, really, guys? Really? And you talk about all the stuff in canon. There was a lot of other interesting things in canon, technology-wise, that they could have brought over. That's something other than, a giant space station that blows up planets. But, ultimately, I have no problem with where they went. It's a question of how they got there. And even then, it's not really a problem. It's just, if you're going to twist my arm and say, pick something, okay, that's probably what I'd say.
Tony, I thought I heard you say something.
I really agree with Rob. The fact that let's just make a bigger
Even
Death
bigger
Star.
Death Star, yeah.
Yeah. Let's just make it even bigger than the first one, which is how we got into the sixth movie.
Yes, because the problems with the problem with the first Death Star, the reason why the first Death Star didn't work, had nothing to do with exposed exhaust ports. It was all about the size of it, because the size of the Death Star in Episode 6 was considerably larger. I don't know, somebody fact check me, but it was considerably larger than the Death Star from Episode 4. So it's like, hey, it's not a fact that there's a very vulnerable weakness to this thing. It just needs to be bigger. So they make it bigger. That one doesn't work either. They get inside the thing, it's so big. They blow it up from inside. Oh, okay, it just needs to be bigger. Starkiller Base.
Yep. That's all they really kept doing, was just making it bigger.
Boy, there's so many statements that could be made there that I'll pass on. Rachel, AJ, your thoughts?
I'll let Rachel go.
On complaints or in general?
All of the above.
All of the above.
You can add your own complaint or feud ours.
Yeah. Monologue, go.
I'm just looking ahead of, I can't decide what they were trying to do because my biggest complaint is, it's Episode 4 all over again, but at the same time, they kind of like poked fun at that, and they and as you pointed out with let's make the Death Star bigger, they're like, oh, remember the Death Star? Well, here, let's put it next to Starkiller Base. We wish it were that small. Like, and just
and then,
character,
and then Han saying, there's got to be a way to blow it up. There's always a way to blow it up.
And then they're like, they still haven't fixed the exhaust problem. Like, that still works. Like, really? You have no better engineers in the entire galaxy and Empire. But okay, sure. But at the same time, then it's like, I don't care because it's the Empire. Like, I don't care where the Empire goes. I assume that's going to fall. I care more about where the Force is going and where the Jedi training is going. And does he bring back an academy? Does he have a whole new... Does he try again after Ren destroyed everything? And so what I noticed... Because, of course, while it was still in theaters, I saw it 4 times. Then I tune into smaller details. And, one of the biggest things for me was the soundtrack. I just adored... Because I see certain things as, the theme of Han and Leia's romance. So, the times they would play that, and the times that they would play Jedi music, and the times they would play Rey's song. It was just... That was my biggest. I want to see where because if they think they're worried they're going to rehash 4 through 6, I'm like, but that was all about redeeming Anakin. He's out of the picture now. It's like, what are you going to redeem Luke? I don't think you want to redeem Kylo because he seems like a side character.
And a big crybaby.
And that giant nose.
Yes, and a big nose.
At emo Kylo Ren.
Yeah, going forward, I don't have quite the fears for, is this going to be a repeat of the original trilogy? Any similarities that there were between 7 and 4, okay, fine, sure, there were quite a few. But I don't really worry about anything moving forward because I feel like there's enough that's going to be different.
Yeah. Also, my deal is, it's a whole new generation of Star Wars fans that, didn't see they only maybe know the prequels, or it's now they're having their kids and they want it to be a family thing. So then they're like, hey, let's rehash why this worked so well. And my other big thing that I love JJ did, because I hate CG. It is one of my largest pet peeves in movies when they overdo it, which is why I don't see a lot of epic and superhero things. But that he made such an effort to make it look I loved how much was real and built and just that amount of work.
Agreed, absolutely.
We know that 8 is going to be dark. The bad guys are going to win. Mm-hmm. 9 will get better. The good guys will win. We know it's going to be 4, 5, 6 in that nature. It's going to hurt that way. But they've already promised that 8 will mirror 5, but not as much as 7 did 4. So we do have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it anyway. I can't wait to see what they do with it.
of the bad for myself, the one that just stands out glaring to me is Captain Phasma and how much that they wasted that character. That I was expecting
Ooh.
so much from her, and then let's make a funny trash compactor joke, and it's like, are you kidding me? And I'm so glad she's in 8. They promised that she's in 8, so hopefully she becomes something.
Okay,
I just feel like
that actually does bring up one of my complaints, which is not about the movie. It's more about the way it was covered and the hype that it got.
yeah,
Was now it's Star Wars but diverse. Like, ooh, look, now we have a female in the Empire. Now we have a black stormtrooper. Now we have a female Jedi. And I'm like,
yeah, they went way too hard on the hype for her because Gwendolyn Christie was straight out of Game of Thrones, and then it was hot in everybody's minds, and they needed to capitalize on that, and so they blew it out of proportion. And it's she's only. It's basically it's the Jared Leto thing before Jared Leto. You know, it's hey, this person's big and they're important in the movie. No, they're only in the movie for like a couple of scenes.
Release your anger.
they're really not, and that's what killed it. It's like you were expecting Brienne of Tarth to come out and like destroy all the people, like all the rebels, and that's not the character.
But that scene where they had the stormtrooper who's dubbed traitor, that yelled at Finn at Maz's temple or whatever. That should have been Phasma there. That should have been her. Why were we wasting time with the random stormtrooper that I had to read a book to know about?
People read books? What?
See, people rip that guy apart. Because they're like, why does this bro have like this random weapon he just pulls out on? And like, yeah.
Oh
I mean, they could simplify it or they could add so many other side characters that don't really matter.
It's definitely interesting. I mean, I'm. What do you guys think about, Rey's story arc and, and Finn and how they kind of all that whole engagement with the two characters? I thought they had some really terrific chemistry on screen. I thought it was really pretty good. But I mean, like individual character story wise, I mean, how do you guys see that kind of playing out in the next movies? I mean.
I think they worked really well together, but there was a lot of questions from 7 that just, why did Finn snap? How does Rey even know what the heck she's doing? Oh, I'm just going to do a Jedi mind trick out of nowhere. And then they're both fighting on par with Kylo Ren with lightsabers, and Finn's not just getting sliced in half with one swing. How is that possible?
Well, maybe one could presume that because he was a stormtrooper and they carry around those cool anti-lightsaber sticks that maybe he had practice. I don't know. Maybe?
It's his first day on the job after being a trash man.
I don't know.
I mean, they just...
I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, why are you trained in combat?
Why
are they sending you down to the planet? Oh, that's my other question that I'm sure it's in the credits. I could just look it up. But that old guy in the beginning who knew Kylo, who was he?
Oh, the village elder
Lor
or whatever?
Santeca, who was Max Van Sydow. Yeah. That was supposed to be like a Church of the Force or something, is what that little village was. And you have to read the books to figure out more.
There's like 3 or 4 like essential reading books for understanding all of the little minor stuff in there that they just kind of threw out there.
I mean, I get that. And I think that's fine to have like that kind of avenue available. I mean, I get it. That's cool. But like, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. It's not, I don't know. I don't want to say anything mean. I'm trying not to say anything mean. But, okay, so what about, so like I was saying, well, what about, like, Rey's story arc? And, I mean, do you see it being real similar to Luke's? Do you see it being different? I mean, I think the redemption story and, the good, bad, good of the trilogy, macro level is probably right. But what about characters individually? I mean, do you have any thoughts about the direction of that, or do you think it's pretty clear already? And what's your prediction?
it feels like the whole arc might be just how does Rey know how to she knows how to do, and it's not so important who her parents are anymore. It's more of what is she? And if we go back to midichlorians, please no.
I mean, it could happen. She's off the charts. Yeah. It's like Dragon Ball Z. Oh my god.
Power level
500,000 points. What?
My thing with Rey, I hope she does not end up with Finn. I don't want her to be the love interest. But
I kind of don't feel like they're going to go that direction with her based on how they started her portrait 7. I kind of feel like they can't do that.
I hope not, but I don't know. Because then it hits that point when they're still working on it where you kind of just want to give into what fans want. So they already have their couple name.
Oh my god. Oh, god.
Is it Faye or Rin?
I think most people are going with Rin.
Okay.
I don't. Faye just sounds too much like a fairy to me. I don't know.
Oh my god. Okay, so
but I also, I don't know. It's so weird because obviously she has questions about her. Like she had a family or had some kind of guardian that left her, and at the same time that like Luke's whole how he was thrusted into Jedi training was that his family was killed like by the Empire, not directly in front of him, but where he saw the aftermath. So like she didn't have anything that traumatic. Like she almost, I mean, you know, she was in Maz Kanata and she found it and she's like, I don't want anything to do with this. Like, what does this have to do with me? It's not my problem. They didn't do anything to me. So I think it'll be like she's almost doing it for the good. Like there was no vengeance to it. So she could possibly be a lot more pure as a Jedi. Like there's just not dark side in her.
So what about Luke? Obviously, lots of disappointment that he shows up at the end with creepy face. So for those of you who totally didn't know that already, there's my spoiler alert sound. And, you know, I found this, or whatever the line is that's just so dumb. And
no lines.
There isn't any.
Whatever.
No,
There's just dramatic music.
It's implied. So what about him? What about him? Like, what do you think? Where's he been? What's he been up to? He's chilling. Are we gonna see any of that in the next movie as exposition before he like comes into the present? What do you think's gonna ultimately happen to him?
I think if we saw anything as exposition, it would almost be like more Rey, like how we had the flashback with the lightsaber and how Luke went into when he was in Dagobah, which isn't exactly because it wasn't a flashback; it was more of a daydream. I don't know, but so I feel like it would be something she's more than he'll tell her. But I hope that Rey can at least convince him to come back with her, like to get a chance to explain about Han, and then he'll go back to Leia, and I have a feeling Leia will give Luke quite a talking to, of like, you have to train this girl.
Okay. Other thoughts?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
Okay. I was just gonna say, I mean, as far as I've been staying relatively quiet on this so far because I kind of feel like absolutely everything has been predicted that I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever, let's just let it happen. Because like every permutation of Rey's parentage and, you know, who's going to be the next, you know, everything has just kind of been bouncing around in the echo chamber over the last, you know, year and a half or so, in the run up to 7, and now that we're in the run up to 8, that kind of nothing would surprise me at this point. But I kind of feel like, just going off of what Rachel had just said, I kind of feel like maybe Luke might have still stayed out if it hadn't been for Han. I kind of feel like Han is the thing that brings him back. And then I hope to God that Leia gives him a talking to, because I would see that. That's why I love Leia. that feistiness. I'd love to see that it hasn't gone anywhere over the interim decades.
You're an evil, evil person. You know that, right?
What?
I'm so glad it didn't work out, those two. Never liked them anyway. Say it just like
No,
that.
that's a damn crime.
Never liked them either, ever. None ya. Okay, so what about well, other thoughts on that? Any other thoughts about Luke and his future with the movie? Andy or Tony, don't be shy.
I just don't want to extrapolate anymore. Like, I don't want to theorize on it and then something be right that I don't want to be right. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
He gonna
Luke
die.
died by the end of the second movie, and then he's not in the third at all. And it's like, well, that was a complete waste.
You gonna die.
So basically,
I feel like
pull an Obi-Wan, walk right up in front of Kylo, have it out of, I failed you as your mentor, and then Rey's gonna see it, and then she's gonna scream, and
Oh my god, you're
Yeah, but then
so
that goes
cynical.
back to the whole vengeance kind of standpoint that you just said that she didn't have.
oh,
She's gonna do all that with her Force magic.
But yeah, with regards to Luke, I kind of feel like there's nothing we know about him with regards to this seventh movie. Like everything we know about him is related to 4, 5, and 6. We know nothing about him in 7. We know nothing about him what happened in between. And I kind of feel like based on what we don't know, there's no role big enough for the legend, especially since they refer to him as a legend at this point. So we don't know if he had a personal relationship with Snoke. We don't know if he trained Rey when she was a baby. We don't know anything. So it's kind of hard to predict where he's going to go because I kind of feel like there's nothing. He needs a bigger ha than anything that's been set up so far.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I think he, all the rumors are like, oh, 8, they're going to, there'll be a flashback to the school that he started after he defeated the Emperor and how it, went belly up, and we'll get to see kind of like the backstory about how he got to where he is today in this reclusive, hide the parts, find the secret treasure map to get to me kind of thing. But it's all speculation, right? I mean, nobody really knows.
Save that for a story. Save that for one of the story movies, basically, at this
Yeah.
point.
I kind of feel like that's the only way they can do it anyway, because like what Rachel was saying, they don't really do flashbacks. What you get is a vision.
Right.
So maybe like Rachel was saying, if Rey has a vision that kind of fills in some of those gaps, but that's not going to be definitive because it's going to by its nature it's going to have to be like bits and pieces and flashes and up to interpretation. So that's not going to be satisfying from a narrative standpoint as to this is what he did, this is how he ended up in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, I mean, just unless they could completely break from convention and all of a sudden start doing like traditional flashbacks, like
please don't.
like 14, like the 14-minute prequel on the front of Lord of the Rings, the Ring that sets everything up. It's like, okay, well, this completely, fills in all the backstory, okay, but it kind of it sits apart from the movie proper. But that would work perfectly well in a side story movie because they are intentionally doing those differently from what traditional Star Wars is. So,
But I don't know that I don't see that for a main character though. I really don't. I don't. And it's like if they're not going to cram it into a 3-hour movie, then that exposition will be in a book that only the hardest of core will read, and the rest of us will wonder until we forget about it. So, honestly, I mean that's the unfortunate culture we live in today. Okay, so the last character I want to pick on from the movie is Snoke. So the 1.1 million theories that are out there about who is he secretly, what's the stuffs, blah, 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 and all the things. So
how tall is he really?
Yeah, is he really a giant? Probably not. So what do y'all think? And that's not no cop out. I mean, okay, so we'll save Luke for the good stuff. But now, okay, this is the new bad guy. He's the new big bad guy. We think. What's his secret? What don't we know? Begin.
He's a time traveler, Ren.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
There's so many timelines.
I was gonna say, all right,
JJ,
I'm out on
him.
that. Clearly, that's it. We're done.
Oh my god. But no, for serious.
I still think he's going to
That's
be
legitimate.
Darth
Like,
Plagueis.
What was that, Tony?
I still think he's going to end up being Darth Plagueis.
That is a popular theory, yes.
That's probably my favorite of the theories that are out there because it adds some weight to the character without having to, like you said, you don't have to put a new book out now that people have to go and read because it's already been out there for a while, and it's at the very least it's already been in a previous movie, numbered movie.
Correct. Rachel, you gave a face. You were like, meh.
I'm not saying I want it to happen. I just think it's the most credible of the rumors.
I know it's the most logical way for them to take that because I don't know.
It beats the hell out of time traveling Kylo Ren.
As long as he's got a super cool Power Rangers Time Force
of Luke and Leia you never met.
Oh my god! Look, I mean,
there was 3.
The Darth Plagueis thing it's very probable, and it's interesting because, like Rob said, it was mentioned in another movie, and that's would be like a whole new level of different kind of force power that we've not been introduced to yet, right? I mean, no one's ever really seen anything like that. The ability to basically be a parasitic life form that hops from person to person forever without you knowing it, or did he? I mean, there's so many different theories about how all that works. That would be different to see something come from the Force that's new and is embodied in an actual character you have to do battle with. That I think that's interesting. Thoughts on that, or it's just total balderdash?
There could be some directions to go with that if they decide to. I don't think it'll be. I would love to see it be something as epic as that. I kind of worry that it's going to be something just a little bit more conventional. Like he's just the guy that rose up to lead the Empire that they've been fighting for the last 10, 15 years or so. Not the full time, but like in between. Relative time of peace afterwards, and then the First Order started starting some shit after that, and then the Resistance formed. But I think that'd be an interesting direction to go, the whole mastery over death thing, because for one, it kind of adds a certain amount of symmetry to the series as a whole, because that's kind of what led to the fall of Anakin, was wanting to learn mastery over death because everything started with his mom. Didn't start with his mom, but for him, that was kind of his journey to the dark side, was Shmi, and losing his shit over the Tusken Raiders. So I think that's interesting. And then also, if you really want to throw out some fan fiction potential rumors there, if you're dealing with a character like that where force powers giving you mastery over death as a possibility, who's to say it can come back? Fanfic.
Oh my god.
No.
But no, that's not going to happen. I'm just pulling that out of my ass. But because Harrison Ford is done. I think he is done. The character, they may have more things they want to do with the character, but I think he's kind of done.
He was in the credits for it though.
For which?
For 8.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, and I did not so I don't know if it's flashbacks. I don't know.
I was gonna say it could just be a flashback, and they have to give him credit for it. But...
Oh my god, they have to, because he's just so awful.
Because he's Harrison, you must put him in.
Harrison Ford. Yeah.
We'll still take it. But as for Snoke, I wish he were that epic. Like Rob said, I wish that they did something that exciting with the Force, but I really don't think the focus of this trilogy is going to be on the dark side or the Empire enough for them to really develop Snoke's timeline. And at the same time, Kylo Ren, the leader of the Knights of Ren, was basically an equal to whoever that random commander guy was on the ship, who I assume is not force sensitive. I just thought it was very odd that they were basically equals, and where he's like, oh yeah, grab Kylo, we'll get on the thing and finish his training. It seems like they were breeding their own Jedi now to be stormtroopers. They're trying to make an evil, force sensitive group to work as weapons of the Empire. He seems more an Empire person to me than a dark side.
That is an interesting observation. Because I'm thinking.
I think
back
on
to...
some level.
Go ahead.
I think on some level, with all of this talk about Snoke and his grand importance in the overall scheme of things, I kind of feel like he can't. At some point, I think you run into a villain problem if he has this. If he's to have this grand, this epic focus as a former fallen Jedi turned Sith and that learned mastery over death and all of that, and comes back and all that. I kind of feel that at some point, what are all your other villains for? If you're going to have this guy be like the chief one that's this important, that has this much gravitas, what's going on with Hux? What's going on with Kylo? What's going on with Phasma? You got too many villains going around, and I don't recall off the top of my, because I'm kind of going on media blackout as much as I can for Rogue One and for Episode 8. So I don't really know a lot of what's going on.
Cast. Put it that way.
I thought they were adding at least one more villain in on top of all the other ones, and they're swearing. Yeah, and they're swearing, hey, we're going to give Phasma her due this time, too. So it's like, okay. At some point, you just got too much going on.
Yeah, you'll get Spider-Man 3 syndrome.
And I also don't think, I don't see Ren's relationship like I did with Vader and the Emperor, where it was clearly the Emperor was his master, his trainer, his mentor. I didn't get that from Snoke. I just saw him as showing up of
he's just the boss.
Yeah.
He's not, there's no, I don't want to say affection there.
But that respect, that relationship.
Yeah. There's no veneration there. But I mean, going off of the potential villain issue thing of having too many, I think that's all the more reason why Kylo turns sooner rather than later. To kind of clear up that mess.
That's interesting.
Okay, now that's where the rest of the villain, give the rest of the villains something to do. If you turn one of them back to a potential hero, although that's a hard sell so quick after Han.
Well, right. I mean,
it's a balancing act.
So.
Unless that's kind of on purpose in that theory.
Yeah, but I mean, I even said to I don't know, probably Rachel. After the movie came out last year, that once you kill off Han Solo, you kind of can't come back from that. So the redemption arc on some levels it's really hard to pull off, even though by all rights that's what they're building towards with Kylo.
I think he'll self-implode. I don't think he'll be redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can easily see that, and we still haven't seen the mom side of it, right? I mean, you've still got Leia out there, and that's different. I mean, it's one thing to, many of us have probably, it's an old cliche story where, son gets tired of dad, son stands up to dad, son threatens dad, dad usually kicks son's butt, but in the movies it's always not quite that way, but, there's always that tension, father and son, at some point, and with mother and son, it's a completely different relationship, and so, he played the card on Harrison, but I think that was on purpose. And the thing is, could he do that with someone who is also force sensitive and knows he's full of crap?
Right.
I think that would be a really interesting play in the redemption arc or the self-implosion arc, because if you think about it, what could he do? Could he be responsible for killing off Leia? Is it possible? And then that's what leads to the self-implosion?
Well, that's what leads Luke to come back with a... even more vengeance and end up killing Snoke.
And taking over as the new Dark Emperor? I mean, sure, why not, since we're going all the way. But look, I mean...
I think if he killed Leia, though, then it would just be back to the Anakin arc of when he thought he did, sort of did, killed Padme, where it's all right, this is the one woman who loved me regardless, tried to bring me back from whatever I was struggling with.
Right. It's a really interesting point. I just... that came out of there. But the other thing I was going to say about Snoke is, see, for me, the best part, and I know it's kind of silly thinking about it like this, but one of my favorite things about the prequel, in fact, the only thing I really liked about the prequel trilogy, was the Yoda Sidious battle. That was so awesome, and that's the first time you actually see, he shoots the lightning bolts that we all knew in the original trilogy just, melt face. And he's like, I'm going to absorb that into my hands and throw it back in your bitch face. That's cool. That whole epic good guy, epic bad guy confrontation has to happen in this next trilogy for me. I think in order for it to reach that level of, even if the good guy loses or the bad guy loses. I don't care how it happens, but it's the old archetypes. They have to go for it, and then that gives the new generation a chance to do whatever's going to lead to the future, right? Right?
I think it's going to be Ren and Ray if you're going to have an epic battle. Okay, can I Firefly this for a minute?
Yes.
Okay. So I almost see Ren as as River. Like there was this genius, this someone who was talented that was left, and the Empire is trying to make him breed him to be a weapon, and I feel like he's gonna then try to convert Rey to that. Like, because it wasn't, I hear you have this girl and she's even stronger. Like, she's not trained at all and she almost kicked your butt. But Snoke wasn't like, yeah, let's grab her and turn her like they did with Luke. Like, they're almost like, let's just destroy her. So I just think it was really weird, and it reminded me of Firefly when they finally caught her, and then they ended up killing anyone who would ever talk to her because they're like, no, only we deal with this.
That is also interesting.
I feel like there's just a lot more to Kylo Ren and what his purpose is, because I don't think it's about. To me, it's not about redemption. It's not about him at all. You just there.
So many things.
Do or do not. There is no try.
So, Andy, any thoughts on any of those random conspiracy theories that we just generated right off the top of our heads?
No, they make sense. That anything's possible at this point.
Why, thank you. I accept my own genius when it's acknowledged anyway.
Anything's possible in the movies.
Yeah, there's nothing that's said no to any of these theories, basically.
So I think if I can get a takeaway, it's everyone's really super excited for the next one, and we're all going to try to put big horse blinders on and not listen to the stuffs as best as we can, although when that trailer comes out, we're all going to be watching it over and over and over and over and over again, trying to pick out all the crazy details and connect dots that will not make any sense to us until we actually see the whole 3.5 hours of genius. Coming soon to a theater near you. When is it coming out? 2018?
I think so.
Yep.
Oh, the torture. And they'll delay it just for giggles. Oh. Can't
No, they want the money.
No.
Lies.
Marketing.
All right. So the other topic on the agenda is Rogue One is less than 100 days away, I'm told, courtesy of the interwebs. So question for the panel of experts is, what do you think we can expect? What do we think we know about it? I mean, the trailers are kind of out there. We've seen some things. Does anybody really care? I'm going to be honest, I don't. Just me, but Dark Road 2D2.
I don't know if you guys ever watched any of the Animatrix. I'm coming across sort of like that. Like, I'm excited about it. It's going to fill in some of the gaps between, the various storylines that's not necessarily there, but you kind of heard about. But it's not really integral to me loving the Star Wars universe.
In other words, thanks. I might watch it, but Blu-ray, baby.
I mean, I'm still gonna watch it, but it's one of those things where I don't feel like if I don't watch it, I'm gonna miss something per se.
Well, I mean, I think that's fair because that's kind of. I mean, they skipped over that in the original trilogy for a reason, because they could fairly quickly sum it up to be like, hey, we had some spies, they stole the plans to the Death Star, and that's how we know how to attack this thing. Period. So, and they covered all that in the briefing on Yavin 4. So they didn't really need to. At the time they didn't feel they needed to go in depth on that. By virtue of that fact that the argument could be made they don't even need to make the movie except money. So, that being said, I mean I haven't been following absolutely everything on this because I get to a certain point I'm just like, okay, I'm going to see it no matter what. I'm excited for it no matter what. I don't need to know all the details. I don't need to pick it apart. I don't need to hear all the massive theories, many of which contradict to the point that it's all just one big echo chamber waiting for December. But from what I have seen, really excited to meet Jyn, because I think she looks like an interesting character. Everybody else, I feel like they haven't really done much to pique my interest with him. Now, I understand that some of the newer trailers that I haven't really watched go into a little bit more with what's Alan Tudyk's droid's name?
KC2 or K2 so.
Okay. But I think I remember hearing that one of the trailers goes a little bit more in depth on him. But yeah, at this point, it's all just, I don't have much of an impression of any of the other characters.
For him, it's more of like a bluntness, but with like a battle wanting to kill you. Like, you're gonna die, and I'm not gonna laugh about it, sort of thing.
It just seems, it seems. I don't know. I mean, I'll wait and see. You'll see what it's like when it comes out, but I don't feel like it needs to be sold as like a Dirty Dozen type movie, because I feel like if the original trilogy came out today, you wouldn't have you wouldn't be playing up Lando's role and trying to develop his character in trailers, because it's not necessarily about him. You definitely do Luke, you might do Han and Leia. That's pretty much about it. So, I kind of feel like how integral can all of these other characters be to the point, to the plot, really, when it comes right down to it, especially since it's a one-off movie.
Yeah,
one off. Hey, I see.
What?
What?
I just hear Tony making noises, lots and lots of noises.
What I'm actually hoping and expecting from this movie is a spy thriller similar to Captain America: Winter Soldier. That is what I want to do with this movie.
Okay.
Something that no one was really expecting, but turned out amazing.
But was it amazing because, it was a Captain America movie, or was it amazing because of the conflict between...
Do you remember the first Captain America movie?
Yeah, they were all kind of meh.
The first one is like an hour and a half of going, please, can something start happening? But then when you get to the end, it's like, okay, now we're at a Captain America movie.
I mean, I don't know. Meh. We'll see.
To each their own.
Hey, that's exactly right. Rachel, what are your thoughts? Any thoughts at all? Rogue One? Dark R2-D2? Anything?
Dark R2-D2. I'm kind of like Rob. Like, I don't care because it doesn't affect... Like, I'm more invested in the main trilogy arc. So it's not like I'm going to sit there and, like, pick apart, dissect every little detail. I'm not going to make fan theories. Trailers look typical. Like, I'm always excited to see new alien races and new spaceships. I'll go see it. I'll be excited because it's in the Star Wars universe, but I'm not. And as a woman, completely off the side, like, you had Leia, and the only other one that ever really got a name in the original was Mon Mothma. So the fact that she gets a nice little swan song, I'm excited about.
Oh, Mon Mothma, yeah.
Yeah.
There it be.
But yeah, for me, Rogue One kind of exists in the same kind of place as Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them does. It's like, okay, I love Harry Potter. You're going to give me more Harry Potter? Okay, great. Oh, yeah. It's not... Okay. Well, I'll go see it. All right.
What? I think the trailers for that look amazing. Come on.
I'm excited, but that's because Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah, I mean, he's excellent. So, poo on both of you. You go watch your Rogue One, and shush.
Well, you already pooed on Captain America, so screw you.
I'm allowed to poo on Captain America. Worthless.
No.
Worst of the series.
Back to what Rachel was saying about the new vehicles, those look pretty cool. But the AT-ACT, because it's a cargo transport apparently, and then the new U-wings, those are looking very interesting. It's like a hybrid of a shuttle and a Y-wing together, because it can carry people.
See, that's the geekiest thing ever to say. I'm like, oh yeah, they have new vehicles and they look fabulous.
Yeah, I feel like there's more to these movies than just the action figures.
Oh my
god. World War II, I love
marketing.
just the military vehicles, so that just gets me going.
I mean,
have more Legos.
Yeah, you guys are just going to go buy them. That's all there is. You're going to go buy them.
I mean, to me, it's
the
like
Force
some of
Awakens.
the older Star Wars like computer games where I'd be like, oh, look at this planet I didn't know existed. This is like I don't know any of these people, but yeah, I'm gonna be this pilot and I'm gonna fly whatever the heck this thing is through whatever the heck planet this is, and I'll be excited about it.
Okay, so general consensus is, yay, we'll see it. It'll be fantastic. And hurry up,
Joel Jones is
2018.
I'll wait for the Han Solo and the Boba Fett backstories, and then I'll be good.
Right. So any other thoughts or quips quickly about Rogue One? Well, since you guys murdered that one real quick, I guess everyone should be really excited to go see it, because I'm not. But anyway, any other interesting pieces of the Star Wars story that we didn't touch on that you'd like to add? Any final commentary? We'll begin with Mr. Pugh.
I don't have anything. I'm going to ask if anybody's up to date on Rebels, because I'm not, and I'm curious.
No, but I know who's coming in season 4. Admiral Thrawn.
I did hear that. Yes,
He is there. I saw him. He's dead on.
That's how you do fan service. You canonize the big boys.
Mm-hmm.
You
And my
kids.
dad is actually the one that's... I don't have cable, so I haven't really gotten into Rebels, but he loves the Rebels series. It is a 65-year-old man watching a cartoon that it works.
There is nothing wrong with that. Nothing.
I watched the Princess Leia episode, but it was standalone because I hadn't seen anything up to that point, and I couldn't see anything afterwards because Disney XD on streaming services is so scattershot, like so many channels are.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give you everything. They give you like a random smattering of episodes, and that rotates through. So you can't go all the way back and start from the beginning, and it's not right. Just put it on Hulu.
Sure.
Netflix.
Andy, any other final thoughts from you?
No, we're good.
Perfect. Rachel. Final words of infinite genius.
You expect that from me?
I mean, yes. Come on now.
Little disappointed you aren't wearing
well.
your Ewok.
I was going to say, in completely random thoughts, I just happened to swing my chair around and see my Star Wars bear, so it reminded me, Build-A-Bear has new Star Wars designs out. So if you'd like to get a nice bear, you can dress it up like Boba Fett or Darth Vader, and it's fabulous.
Giddy up. And Tony, any final thoughts from you, sir?
Nope. I'm good.
You are a liar. Just like the biggest one.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the biggest one. Well,
Maybe.
then, if there are no other thoughts or comments, that'll bring this to a wrap. So if you have any thoughts about Star Wars, fan theories, conspiracy theories, and the like, please feel free to hit us up on the Facebook. Put in the comments under the show if you'd like. You can go on YouTube, subscribe, and comment underneath the podcast once it's posted. Or on Twitter at GamerFeed Radio. And of course, like I said before, you can check us out on iTunes, iHeartRadio, or your favorite streaming device. There's so many to choose from. Otherwise, we're thrilled to have the team back here for this. We'll have many more special episodes of all different kinds of things. I don't know, maybe a Pokemon one. We haven't talked about that in a while. I just saw everybody raise their eyebrows. And more to come in the near future. So, until next time, gamers, peace!